NBC's Manifest is all about a vacation flight, Flight 828, that took passengers on a mysterious and dangerous journey. Well, season 2 is unfolding with even more unanswered questions, unlikely connections, and an intense race against time. Matt Long plays Zeke, a man struggling to do the right thing for himself, and Michaela, played by Melissa Roxburgh. Take a look at Manifest.
I followed you from the house. I didn't want to make a scene.
I thought you were gone.
That's what I wanted you to think.
Zeke, you can't be here right now. This is way too dangerous.
I needed to see you once more.
Once more for what?
I kept telling myself that tomorrow I was going to be a better person. Now I find out there is no tomorrow. Cal got to me.
Good, then you know that you should be as far away from here as possible, living your life, Zeke. Zeke, you gotta go right now.
I called it in.
What?
This is what I need to do with what little time I have left. Own up to my actions. But for once in my life, no more excuses, no more running.
None of this is on you.
Of course it is. I did this to you.
It was an accident.
Exactly. I didn't mean to hurt you, and I did. What happens the next time I get a call?
Zeke, please, please, please go, please.
God, I wish I met you some other way, in some other time. Who knows what could have been.
Wait, no.
Oh, we just want to keep watching after that. We want to welcome to the Coco set Mr. Matt Long, also known as Zeke. Thanks so much for being here today.
Of course, thank you for having me.
So why does this role draw you in so much? What do you love about it?
At first, I was drawn into the fact that he's an outdoorsman. When we first met Zeke, he was out in the wilderness. He had been stranded in a cave, surviving, and I'm a big outdoorsman. I love to go hiking and camping and backpacking. And then also, immediately, we saw so much of his backstory, his family history, and some of the mistakes and the guilt and the shame that he carries around, and that's very rich to me, and it spoke to me.
Yeah. So for people who are thinking about maybe tuning in and starting to get into the show, it's got a really interesting timeline, a little complicated. Can you give us your short version of kind of getting us up to speed and why it's so intriguing to everyone?
So it's about the passengers of 828 on an airplane, had a routine flight, but had horrible turbulence, landed and found out that 5.5 years had passed. Meanwhile, my character Zeke entered in episode 12 of the first season. The passengers from 828 had already been gone for a couple years when we first see him. He goes on a hike in the woods and he stops at a store on the way out, grabs a magazine that was about the passengers. And a blizzard comes up, he gets stranded in a cave and takes shelter there and survives. He's burning this magazine and everything he can to stay alive. And there's this picture of Michaela in it. And something about that picture speaks to him. It gives him hope. It helps him to survive. He also starts to hear her voice. He starts to have these things called callings. He doesn't know what's happening. 2 weeks later to him, he breaks out of the cave. He makes his way to this cabin where the family is waiting for him because they've been having callings about him because the passengers have come back. Zeke was stranded in the cave for a year, and he didn't know it.
Wow.
So the passengers have returned while he was in the cave, so we all have to figure that out. So I kind of blew the whole mythology of the show up.
And that's what makes the show so great, I think. There's so many opportunities for those coincidences to pop up and those unanswered questions, like we talked about earlier. Lots of folks want to know what is going on between you and Michaela. Lots of chemistry there.
Well, from the beginning, there was this sort of supernatural connection between the two of them. So it was much more than just the two of them being attracted to each other or being at work together or something. There was this much deeper connection. So right away they had that to sort of push them down the path of a romantic relationship.
Yeah.
And they also have callings. They have shared callings, the two of them, a lot. So they also find themselves sort of trying to figure out these cryptic messages and visions that they're having together. And that brings people together as well.
Yeah, and what about working with your team, not what we're seeing on TV when we're sitting in our homes watching. What's it like to work with the cast and crew as just yourself as a person?
It's great.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Everyone's very down to earth. Everybody is really appreciative of the job and the work and the success the show has had. And we shoot in New York City. I mean, it's such a fantastic city. It's one of my favorite places in the world. I moved there after college. And I've always wanted to go back and work, and I've been really fortunate to be able to go back the last few years and do that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So what are you looking forward to as we head through season 2 and eventually into season 3? What are you looking forward to?
Well, I hope Zeke survives.
Yeah.
Because we found out last year and at the beginning of this year that there's this thing called the death date, which we found out that you're alive only as long as you were gone. So I was only gone a year. So season 2 takes place over the course of that year. So my clock is ticking very quickly. So I hope he survives. I hope we continue to see more backstory, more compelling things. This season has been so much about Zeke making amends and making up for mistakes of his past. So I hope we continue to get to see that stuff.
Yeah, well, we do too, especially after having you here on our show. We're excited to see you keep going. Now, you said you shoot in New York City. It's got to be a lot of high energy, a lot of coordination. What's a typical day on set like for you guys?
Well, you show up, you get picked up at your place. They take you to the set. We shoot at Silver Cup Studios right across the East River in Long Island City. You go to hair and makeup, and you get ready to shoot. And then if you're in the first scene, you go straight up to rehearse. And then they start to set up the cameras and the lights and everything. You go back and finish hair and makeup, you get in wardrobe, and then you go shoot the scene. If you're not in the first scene, you might wait around a long time.
Right.
But there's a lot of energy there. Everybody, like I said, is excited, and everyone has a great attitude about it. So it's a fun set to be on. It's a fun studio to work at.
Yeah, well, I have to ask personally, how long does it take you to get through hair and makeup versus Melissa, who plays Michaela?
You know, it's funny. Probably longer, because
Really?
Zeke, from the beginning, so Zeke was out stuck in this cave, and so we added a lot of exposure, makeup-wise and hair-wise. And then we kept some of that because he has struggled with drugs and alcohol in his past, and so to sort of give us some weathering, if you will, we kept some of those like splotchy skin and like sort of irregularities in the skin and bags under the eyes and all that. So which I actually love, because it's I've played so many like love interests in shows, and so it's really refreshing for me to be able to play the guy who's got more of a troubled past and more of an interesting character.
Yeah, a little more human.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so we talked about this idea of the expiration date that Zeke has in the show. Does that play into sort of living every day as if it's your last, or maybe knowing when the end is, so really living to your fullest?
You know, it's always an idea that I've tried to do, but you lose sight of it,
Right.
you know, from the day-to-day,
Right.
with the day-to-day life. I wish that it influenced me more in my day-to-day life, probably, but I don't know. I don't think I'd want to know that, you know?
Yeah.
It's an awesome idea to carry with you, and I
Right.
just hope that I can do it better.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I don't think
Yeah.
I'd actually want to
No,
know
I
when the
can't
end is
imagine.
officially coming.
No.
All right, so what do you want to see for Zeke? We know that you want him
Yeah.
to stick around, but do you have any input with your writers?
Absolutely. I mean, Jeff Rake is the creator, and he's very available and communicative. He's open to text, phone calls, emails, and so I usually try and take what I'm given. So when a script comes in, I'll read it, make notes along the way, and if something doesn't ring true to me or I don't understand something, I'll make a note of it,
Right.
and maybe what I might like it to be, or what it would be, how it would help me if we changed it.
Yeah.
And then I'll go back and reread it again and see, before I contact, and see if it makes more sense, or I can make it work. And if I can't, then I'll email Jeff, and he'll either argue for what was written and convince you of it, because he's
Right.
very convincing,
Yeah.
and he has really usable, tangible things for an actor, or he'll change it. He's super open to that,
Right.
which is amazing, and add things or take things away to make it flow better or make it more organic for you in the moment, because you know you're thinking about the scenes and how they're going to play and all that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it works both ways, and he's been an amazing showrunner to work with.
Well, it's good that you guys can have that collaboration. All right, well, as we wrap up here, what other projects you got in the works?
Hopefully season 3 of Manifest,
awesome.
and a little boy on the way.
Oh,
Yeah,
congrats,
thank
that's
you.
awesome.
Next month, my wife is pregnant, and he's
Wow.
due next month.
Oh,
Yeah, so
that
we have a
is
6.5-year-old little girl, and then adding this one.
Oh, awesome. I'm sure they're so proud of Dad.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I hope so.
Wonderful to meet you. Thank you for being here
Thank
on
you.
Colorado and Company. You can watch Matt Long as Zeke on Manifest Monday nights at 9 p.m. right here on Channel 9. We'll be right back.